guys, Will here with W.T.F car reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing the 2024 Honda Pilot Touring.
And a big thanks to Mike and Matt at Love Honda in Homosassa, Florida for helping make this review possible. I'll leave a link to their inventory below, and if you're looking for a new car or SUV in the Homosassa area, I would definitely recommend checking these guys out. And as for Matt or Mike.
And for those of you guys who don't know, the Pilot has been Honda's mid-size three-row crossover SUV since 2003. That's when the first generation was released. The fourth generation Pilot that you see here was released last year for 2023, which increased the size to better compare with new SUVs like the Toyota Grand Highlander, as well as updating the transmission to Honda's more proven 10-speed over the previous ZF 9-speed. For 2024, the Pilot's available in 6 trims ranging from the $37,000 base LX all the way up to the $52,000 Elite. Here we have the Touring, which is considered a luxury trim, sitting right below the Trail Sport with a $46,000 base price. What else do we get for that money? Let's jump right in. So up front, you notice your flickering LED daytime running lights are not actually flickering in real life. We have full LEDs for the headlamps, a nice gloss black grille, which is very bold and aggressive, massive Honda badge. It's like the size of my entire hand, housing your advanced safety features. We get active shutters for the radiator and some active airflow for the brakes and aerodynamics. We have full front parking sensing too for the Touring and LED fog lights. The wheel and tire setup, we'll take a step over here to the side. We get some pretty aggressive 20-inch trims. They're silver and black contrasted, wrapped in Michelin Primacy all-season tires. Dimensions being 255/50 R20. So the 50 series sidewall should keep the ride quality really plush, and the 255 wide tires should put the power down pretty well because we don't get standard four-wheel drive with the Touring. I wish we had standard all-wheel drive from the Touring and up, but we don't. Even if it increased the base price by $2,500, I think most customers would prefer an all-wheel drive Touring. We get a little bit of black plastic trim for the wheel well area and rocker panel side skirt area. We get smart access for the driver and the front passenger, as well as the rear passengers too. The mirrors are body color with a little bit of black contrast, LED turn signal on the mirror, blind spot monitoring on the glass. We get some black trim for the top part of the window trim, blacked out B-pillar too. A little bit of shiny chrome right down below, some blacked out roof rails. Up top we get a panoramic moonroof, and it is massive. That is standard on the Touring, and a shark fin style antenna. Hopefully you guys can pick up at least something out of this window sticker. It is really tough with these dark tints for this 2024 Pilot two-wheel drive Touring. Exterior paint color is lunar silver metallic. Hopefully you guys can pick up the standard features for this 2024 Pilot Touring. As far as standard features, that's all we get. We don't have any options here on this 2024 Pilot Touring. $46,900 for the base price, $13,775 for the destination, totaling us out at $48,275. Fuel economy, pretty solid for a mid-size three-row SUV. 22 combined, 19 city, 27 on the highway. Again, we mentioned we have smart access out rear. Try to recenter this camera so it's not all blurry for you guys. The gas cap is pushed to open with easy fill, and with this 3.5 liter V6, you can throw regular fuel. Out rear, same rear wheel and tire setup. The only difference is a smaller brake caliper, more of that plastic trim for the rear bumper area. Full rear parking sensing. Shout out Love Honda in Homosassa, Florida for helping make this review possible. Full LED taillights. The only thing that's not LED here is the turn signal, but the reverse light and taillight / brake light all LED. We get some black trim for the Pilot badge in the center, chrome Honda badge right up top, and an old school style rear wiper. I kind of wish they integrated a little bit better with the spoiler. And speaking of spoiler, we get a LED third brake light back here. We do get cutouts for a dual exhaust, but these cutouts are actually non-functional. The exhaust tips themselves are right down below. Hopefully you can pick them up on camera. And speaking of the exhaust tips, let's fire up this 3.5 liter V6 and hear how she sounds. Alright guys, that was the sound of the 3.5 liter V6 sold by Honda for the 2024 Pilot Touring, and it actually sounds pretty aggressive for what it is, cranking out a healthy amount of power at 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, and that's to get this 4,600 pound three-row SUV to 60 in around 7 seconds, maybe a little bit quicker if you get a really good launch. What you see is basically what we get. If we didn't mention, this motor does have variable cylinder management. That's why it's able to achieve such good fuel economy. The air intake has a pretty interesting setup. I believe the air filter is actually underneath this engine box with the actual air intake being completely filterless with a little bit of a cold air funnel right up top on the hood. And speaking of the hood, we don't get hydraulic struts. With an SUV in this price point, especially for touring trim, the hydraulic struts would be expected. It'll be interesting to see if the Elite gets hydraulic struts, but here for the touring, which sits right below the Elite and the Trail Sport, it does not. As far as the interior, for a near top trim 2024 Pilot, we'll set the lights back to auto so it's not yelling at me, and we'll see what we got. So up top, soft touch material, a little bit of aluminum separating the piano black, nice soft material for the middle portion, and a gushy soft leather armrest. We get 4-window auto-on touch, aluminum door handle, 2-person memory seats, 4-way adjustable mirrors, and 2 tiers of storage. You'll stack 2 footlongs on top of each other. You'll fit a 6-inch sub right here. You'll fit some car accessories, keys, cigarette pack, with a 24-ounce water bottle right behind it. We get the Bose premium audio system here too. One of the speakers are on the door panel. The seats, I love how the Touring gets these beige or silver, gray, whatever you want to call them seats, so they don't get super hot in the Florida sun. They're pretty well bolstered too for the sides and the bottom portion. A little bit of cloth in the center of black contrast stitching. They're fully adjustable, 2-way lumbar. You can recline, drop, lift, and slide the front seats. Taking a step inside, no nameplate, but the all-weather floor mats do say Pilot on them. Taking a real step inside, for the brake, engine start stop, and everything fires right to life. First thing we notice, just like with all the other Honda cars, the steering wheel here is excellent. They've updated the wheels so well, very thick, solid 10-2 bolstering notch, and 9-3 fits perfect in your hand. The horn area is rubberized, well grained too. The horn itself, loud and aggressive. People should be definitely getting out of your way. We'll do a window check, see if we get dual panes. We do get dual panes here on the Touring. I believe the Touring and up all get dual panes, but the EXL and down do not. The steering wheel controls, we get volume and skip on the left side, home screen and voice commands for the infotainment, as well as the adjustments for the left side infotainment. Speaking of that, we can see our fasten seatbelts, safety support, no content, brightness, gauge display settings, warnings, range and fuel, speed and time, audio, phone, and the turn-by-turn navigation. My personal favorite to look at all times would probably be the range and fuel, so we'll leave it there at all times. On the right side, we have our active steering and radar cruise control adjustments, paddle shifters controlling the new 10-speed automatic transmission, auto headlamps and high beams with the adjustments for the fog lights. The stocks have a really satisfying click. We don't get auto rain sensing wipers here, but the Touring Accord we just reviewed in this channel did have rain sensing wipers, and it started to rain during the review, and the rain sensing wipers didn't automatically engage for some reason. Maybe a setting has to be activated, but it wasn't available for the review. Anyway though, to the left of the steering wheel, we have our tilt and telescope function, trunk release, traction control you can disable. We have our hood latch release down below, and hopefully you can get a good look at the pedals. Awesome. A little bit of gloss black surrounding the air vents, all soft touch. For the dashboard, the gauge display is a 12-inch digital display with a digital speedo in the center, 6,500 RPM tach, and 140 mile-an-hour digitally illuminated analog speedometer, fuel level down below. The touchscreen, we get the 9-inch touchscreen that's available on the EXL and up. The home screen, we can see everything that's available, all apps, navigation that's available from the Touring and up. Phone, FM, Bluetooth audio, smartphone, you guys can pause, take a look. I don't have to say it all out loud. My personal favorite to look at though at all times would be the navigation. And the screen, it looks a little bit dated compared to like the new Accord with the Google Maps display, but the response is still top-notch, excellent, and it tells you your longitude and your latitude. We can go right back to the home screen, return to the navigation. Down below we have air vents. They're not the new Civic style air vents that you see throughout the rest of Honda's lineup, but they still do the job. The engine start stop button when activated is red, it's silver when it's not turned on. We get some leather stitching for the center of this dashboard. 2-zone automatic climate control up front with an additional automatic climate control out rear. We get heated, no ventilated seats. Got to go to the top Elite to get the ventilated seats. You can adjust the rear climate settings all down below. In here, you can easily fit a cigarette pack, maybe stack 2 on top of each other. You'll fit a phone, maybe 3 on top of each other. USB-A and C port with a 12-volt right down below. Wireless charging pad, additional storage for some more phones. The gear selector is hard buttons for the 10-speed automatic transmission. Backup camera, we can check it out. High resolution, we get guidance lines and trajectory with 3 different views. We have a narrower view and an over-the-top view, so if you're in the city, parallel parking, you can really maximize the space between you and the car behind you. Throwing right back into park, and return right back to the home screen. We have drive and sport mode for the transmission. We'll check out both throughout this review. Drive mode selector, we get sport, normal, econ, snow, and tow mode. We'll start the review off in normal, transition to sport, maybe check out econ and just see what the differences are. Behind that, we have our auto start stop again disabled for this review. hill descent control, electronic parking brake with brake hold, and 2 cup holders. They're large. You might be able to fit 30-ounce bottles in here with pushy things to keep the smaller drinks in place. I like the pass-through too, good spot for a wallet or a phone. The center console is massive. You'll fit probably a 12-pack of 16-ounce bottles, maybe 24-ounce bottles. You have a nice coin tray too. No light, no additional USB A or C ports or 12-volt, but a very spacious center console. The glove box, we have a second tier up top. It doesn't close, but you'll fit quite a few car accessories in there if that's not enough space. We have a bottom tier, which is also pretty large. You'll fit 15, 20 license plates. You'll fit a pair of shoes in there with no problem. The rear view mirror is basically frameless and auto dimming with 3 garage home link settings on it. We have a panoramic moonroof. You can open up the shade. The glass opens up with the shade, and it does so pretty quickly. If you want to open up the rest of the shade, you got to press and hold. There's actually a separate button for just the shade. We'll pull that too. Opens up pretty quickly. I don't think the roof itself goes out any further. We'll press and see if it does. It does not, but it goes all the way out to the end of the front row. We can poke our way out of here. Beautiful day today in Homosassa, Florida. Sunny and 92 degrees. We can shut this roof right up. We'll leave the shade open so when we hop out back, you can see how much light is brought into the cabin, but that's about it for the inside, at least for the front row of the 2024 Pilot Touring. Let's hop out back, see how much space is offered back there, as well as the overall quality of the material. So up top, we get hard plastic just like the rest of the Pilot lineup. We haven't done an Elite yet, but I believe the Elite also has hard plastic out rear, aluminum trim separating the piano black, nice soft trim for the center, and a gushy soft leather armrest. Auto one-touch window, aluminum door handle, and 2 speakers, Bose speakers for the door panel. We still get 2 tiers of storage. Up top, you'll fit a 6-inch sub, 24-ounce bottle, maybe a 30-ounce bottle right in front of it, and you'll fit a foot long down below. Taking a step inside, I like these plastic steps so you don't get the interior all covered in dirt. And speaking of covered in dirt, we get standard all-weather floor mats. It's not listed on the sticker as an optional feature. The seats are still that beautiful gray, beige, whatever color you like to call it, with the cloth insert here too. You can slide and recline these rear seats as well. Taking a step inside, I'm a little bit over 6 feet tall sitting behind my seat settings, and I still have at least 4 inches of knee room. Headroom, I have about 2 inches. So if you're under 6'5", 6'6", you'll fit behind your seat settings back here with no problem. You get mat pockets behind both the front seats, 3rd zone climate control. No heated seats back here, not really a big deal. Still a very nice feature to have the 3rd zone climate, 2 USB-C ports underneath. Ton of light brought into the cabin thanks to this massive panoramic moonroof. We get an LED interior light, hook for the driver's side, as well as a hook for the passenger side grab handle. The center armrest here, you got to pull this latch and the whole thing drops down. It's not very easy to do with one hand, but we figured it out. Very soft leather, 2 cup holders. You'll fit 24-ounce bottles. A nice little center slot for some phones, car accessories, whatnot. As you mentioned, it's tough to lift or drop with one hand, but we figured it out. We'll take a step out towards the 3rd row, see how much space is offered back there, and then take this 2024 Pilot out for a drive. So to access the 3rd row, you simply press a button and the whole seat shoots forward. To lift up the 3rd row seat, we simply just do exactly that. And since we have these plastic foot pads, there's not a lot of carpet to worry about stepping on. So even if you have dirty feet, you can get back here without really making this car significantly dirty. So let's see what it is in the farthest back setting. And this is as far back as these back seats go. Check out the legroom for these rear passengers. And I still have at least 1 inch, maybe 2 of knee room, at least 1 inch of headroom. They cut out a little bit of additional space for the taller passengers. So if you're under 6'2", 6'3", you'll fit in the 3rd row of a 2024 Pilot. This is genuinely one of the more spacious vehicles in the segment. The materials back here are hard plastic, but we do get a USB-C port and an air vent. It doesn't blow directly into your face, but it's still nice to get one nevertheless. We do get 3 seat belts back here too. I can't possibly imagine sitting a person in the center one, but you can fit 2 adults, maybe a small kid under like 6, 7 years old in between the 2 adults. So yes, this is technically an 8-passenger SUV, but it would be pretty uncomfortable to fit anything more than 7 when it comes to full-size adults. That's about it though, guys. You can press this button and the seat shoots right forward for you. We can hop out of here, and we also have an additional air vent that blows to our feet. Hopping out towards the cargo space, we'll see how much space we have with the 3rd rows up and with the 3rd rows down. Those 3rd rows also recline a little bit to make things a little bit more comfortable. Underneath the L is a button for the power tailgate. We also have a hands-free power tailgate with a kick function, but I don't have the key in my pocket, so for me personally, it wouldn't work. So behind the 3rd row seats, you still have a very solid amount of space. I'll leave a link right here to show you exactly how much space behind the 3rd row, behind the 2nd row, and behind the 1st row if all the seats are folded down. Secret storage, we'll see how much we have. It's pretty tough to access with all these floor mats on here, but we get a ton of secret storage. If you plan on keeping these third row seats up permanently, I recommend removing that tray and just using that secret storage cubby for an additional 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 cubic feet of space. That is massive. To drop the seats, you simply just let them fall. You do the same thing over here. You pull it back and simply let it fall. So here you have the cargo space with the second row up and the third row folded down, and it is large. Even with the second row up, I'd expect you to fit a 42 to 50 inch TV back here. You fold those second row seats down, you're fitting an 80 to an 85 inch TV back here. Absolutely massive amount of space. The step-in's a little bit high. I'm a little bit over 6 feet tall. I'm about 5-6 inches away from the step-in, so if you have older or smaller pets, maybe a little bit tougher for them to hop back here, but give them a little bit of a boost and they should have no problem. We also get a subwoofer back here too for the Bose premium audio system. We can shut this trunk right up. It gives you a second, so if you have grocery bags in your hands, you got time to get out of the way and not get doofed in the head. But that's about it though, guys, for the inside and outside of this 2024 Honda Pilot Touring. It's a really nice vehicle, absolutely loaded with features. For this price point, my only complaints are no standard all-wheel drive and maybe no heated or ventilated seats. But other than that, this is a just about perfectly loaded 2024 Pilot. Performance-wise, let's take it out for a drive and see what it's got. All right, guys, now we're just about seeing everything we need to see with the inside and outside of the all-new 2024 Honda Pilot Touring. Let's take it out for a drive and see what it's got. My first impressions, though, the steering feels really light. I mentioned that the Honda Accord and the Honda Civic steerings have amazingly good feel compared to the previous models, and that was true. But here, the steering wheel may feel like a huge upgrade, but the steering feel, really, you don't feel anything at all. It feels like a video game, how you just turn the wheel, but you don't actually know if there's any feedback happening. That's what it feels like here, which I understand a lot of people like. My mom has had several Acura MDXs over the years, and she loves the steering because of just how buttery, silky, smooth it actually feels. In my opinion, it feels like nothing's even there, and I personally don't like it. I prefer a little bit more weight through the wheel. But for a lot of people, especially people looking for a luxury vehicle, they're looking for that effortless, light feel. Taking a step over here, we can test out this V6 in normal mode. Good low-end punch. Steering feels absolutely weightless. You don't even know what's happening, but the handling itself is very good. Nice low-end punch. We'll try it out in sport. See if the steering gets a little bit lighter or heavier. We immediately downshift the gear. The steering feels a tiny bit heavier, but it still feels really, really light. We can slow down a little bit. We'll wait until we pass these guys. This guy's outside of his car. I don't want to do any reckless stuff when he's in front of me, but now that he's behind me, we'll slow down a little bit. Do a quick little rolling pull in sport mode on the gas. Woo! Yeah. This thing can move, especially once you cross about 3,500 RPM. And you get a really nice Honda VTEC snarl too as you run through that rev range. Using these paddle shifters, try to go down to second gear. When it lets me, there we go, it lets me. I guess. Woo! Snappy shifts and a good top end amount of power. We'll try some mid-range, fifth gear on the gas, up. So it automatically downshifts you when you're not in the optimal gear for performance. But as you see, this thing can move. I could see 0 to 60 happening in about 7 seconds, maybe a little bit quicker. This definitely doesn't feel any slower compared to the Honda Accord Touring Hybrid we just reviewed in this channel. Definitely feels quick. We'll try one out off the line, see if we get any wheel spin, see if the front wheel drive is enough, especially if you're in areas like Florida, which simply don't need all-wheel drive for most situations. But for some situations, especially right now, we're on the dirt, and we don't need four-wheel drive because it took us out of there with no problem. We'll try one out right here off the line. See if we get any wheel spin, sport mode, off the line. No! Put the power down. Woo! We do have a little bit of a traction control light, but for the most part, it put all the power down. So unless you're driving like an animal through rainy climates, snowy climates, no, four-wheel drive is not necessarily necessary. Let's try it out in S, the sporty shift, second gear. A little bit snappier, but yeah, it doesn't make the hugest difference. Downshifts are a little bit quicker. Yeah, I like it, guys. We'll take it out of S. Let's try it out in Econ mode, see what changes up. Everything gets a lot quieter. The steering gets even lighter than it was in normal mode. At this point, I don't even know if the wheels are attached to the ground. We'll slow down a little bit, try a moving pull, see what the throttle feels like. We'll wait for this guy to pass. I don't want to do anything reckless with people in front of me. But rolling pull about half throttle. Still feels strong. It shifts a lot earlier. Yeah, so where it would usually shift around 4,500 to 5,000, in Econ mode it's shifting at about 3,500. Because of that, I recommend leaving this car in Econ mode at all times. Why? Because the steering is super light either way. Even in sport mode, the steering is super light. The handling is good though. See, Econ mode, we're still handling really well for a large mid-sized 3-row SUV. And in Econ mode, you'll have the full cylinder deactivation activated. You'll be getting your 20 mpgs in the city, almost 22, 23 mpgs combined if you go with front-wheel drive. And also, with this V6 engine, you still feel pretty strong amount of power even in Econ mode. Because of that, that's why I recommend leaving this vehicle if you do end up purchasing it. And speaking of that, I would definitely recommend purchasing a 2024 Honda Pilot with the Touring package. Would I recommend going all the way up to the Elite? Honestly, maybe. For the extra $5,000, you get the heated and ventilated seats, nicer materials, and an overall nicer vehicle, which will probably get better resale value. But this Touring, you're saving $5,000, and it is still a really nice car to drive. If you're looking for something in the southern climate area and you don't want standard four-wheel drive, like right there, the Trail Sport has standard four-wheel drive. If you're in somewhere colder climates, for an extra $2,000-$3,000, I would actually recommend the Trail Sport over the Touring. But if you're in Florida and you don't need all-wheel drive, I would recommend the two-wheel drive Touring. I wouldn't recommend the four-wheel drive Touring because at that point, again, might as well just get the Trail Sport. But with the two-wheel drive Touring in warm southern climates, this might be the best value overall trim that you can get. And a big thanks to Love Honda in Homosassa, Florida for helping make this review possible. I'll leave a link to your inventory below, and if you're looking for a new car or SUV in the Homosassa, Crystal River area, I would definitely recommend checking these guys out. And huge thanks to all of you for watching. I had a great time making this video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you already subscribed, thank you so much. You guys know the channel is just not possible without you, and I really appreciate the constant support. But again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Leave a like too, it really helps me out the YouTube algorithm. That's how these videos get promoted to new people. Leave a comment, let me know what you like, let me know what you don't like. Leave a comment, let me know if there's any specific cars, SUVs, or trucks you want to see reviewed on this channel, and I'll definitely try getting those videos for you ASAP. But other than that, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope all of you have a great day.